Greetings sailors and welcome back to World of Warships, and my second attempt at recording this because kind of slightly messed up the first time. So I thought today I would play my newest acquired ship, the Renown 44, which is of course the mid-stage reward for doing the dockyard, and it's basically an up-tiered Renown which we already have at Tier 6. It does have a few improvements, but nothing too dramatic, and it maybe explains why this thing hasn't shot out of the gate with an amazing reputation, because it does mostly on paper look like an up-tiered Renown with a few slight buffs, but maybe not enough to compensate for it being higher tier. So we now have 3 R-class ships in the game. We have Repulse Renown and Renown 44, and well, technically it's 2, you know. This one's an iteration of this, and probably, you know, the biggest visual difference between the two is the 113mm turrets. There are only 2 of on Renown. There are now 5 per side, but this isn't really a secondary focused battleship, so that doesn't help too much. It does contribute a bit more to your AA, but not so much as to be hugely noticeable. In fact, it really doesn't go up that much at all, and it doesn't like boost your range or anything like that. So yeah, cosmetically they look rather similar. In terms of the actual improvements, probably the most noticeable one is the torpedoes have 10km range now and do pretty respectable. That's almost 16k damage, 15,867, and it's like, what, 10k? Yeah, flat 10k, 6 kilometers. So these are kind of like, you've got to be right up in somebody's face and showing an awful lot of broadside to use those. Whereas these, you might actually get a bit more utility out of. They're slightly more spottable in the water, but yeah, 10 kilometers is actually pretty good for battleship torpedoes, but they still have the same rather broadside angles in terms of using them. The concealment's also a bit better. The range, however, isn't. The range is identical at 16.9, so Repulse easily beats both of them with its almost 20 kilometers, although Repulse also completely lacks torpedoes and actually looks rather different as well. I mean, you can actually get some idea of how different some of the different refits looked. And you know, it's the same with Queen Elizabeth and Warspite, that there wasn't actually that much uniformity involved with how extensive some of the refits were. So yeah, there's that, and I think that's about it. There's a bit more armour, but not so much as is going to make any difference. This is now 26 as opposed to 16mm, but that's still overmatchable by quite a lot of things that you meet. So it's not 16mm at least, and it's also got, with its guns, it's got better Sigma and I think like a second better reload, so technically has slightly higher DPM, but you still only have 6 barrels. So let's give it a go. I did play one game in this already, but that was the accident when I clicked battle and realised that I had co-op selected still. Because I've been grinding out some of the dockyard missions in co-op, which is fine for some of them, but for things like XP missions, it's not that great. But yeah, I'm a bit behind on the dockyard missions. I'm probably going to have to end up plonking down some doubloons to get the Schroeder at the end of it. This time, however, I definitely have clicked the right button. So here we go, top tier, but oh boy, okay. I mean, it's domination, that's a plus, but we have 2 submarines and a carrier. At least being top tier, it means it's a tier 6 carrier, but those subs could end up being very, very irritating to deal with. Especially as with the lower tier ships, you just don't have a particularly good range on your airdrops. It's what, 6 kilometers, maybe 8 if I'm lucky? Yeah, 8 kilometers. We do have Hydro at least, but we've only got 2 of them. With Cunningham, however, we may get a chance to grab a third one. And I guess we'll see how that goes. Yeah, we've also got the Swift in Silence, not Swift in Silence, Brisk skill, which gives a nice little kick to the speed. That's another way in which Repulse beats both Renowns, is that it reaches nearly 32 knots. And this can only just about get to 30, I think. I mean, that's not including the Sierra Mike flags, if you have those. But yeah, this definitely helps give that nice extra boost when I'm not spotted. So, let's see what we see. There are, what, 3 ships that can overmatch? KGV isn't going to care about that because it's got that horrid, nasty, high explosive. Actually, I think that's another way in which Repulse is better. Is it gets the extra HE pen on its 15-inch guns, which is unusual because most of the British 15-inch guns don't get the extra high explosive pen that you find on some of the other British battleship calibers. But Repulse does. This, however, and the Tier 6 Renown do not. So it cannot get the extra damage. I mean, I think the fire chance is the same. But sometimes the extra pen is very handy when you're dealing with cruisers. So there's Gearder. KGV is on this side, the Huger, which is another more or less up-tiered Tier 6. Yeah, there are a few of those at this point. And of course we also have other things that are versions of the ship at a different time. Although there are still people waiting for their... not the Colorado, what's the... one of the standards. There's one of the standards. Is it California? I don't think it's the California. I can't remember. There's so many premium ships at this point, and my brain just went, oh yeah, that's like that other thing, and then helpfully didn't supply the name of the other thing that it was like. So, thanks, brain. That was useful. Right, I am being obviously targeted right now. But the fact that I'm not surface spotted means there's possibly no subs, and yes, that KGV is firing high explosives, so we should not be surprised by that. Right, what do we want to do here? I think try and turn around, so we're going to kill our speed, hopefully throw them off a little bit. That gear to smoke should be dissipating soon. And I should be able to... oh, it's the Rook. The Rook even. Right, let's go with the speed boost.
Engine boost activated.
I can also, actually, just do a spread of torps, which I may even have a chance of... yeah, I kind of want to get away from the KGV. KGV's nasty. Oh, hello, we found the submarine. You are super close.
Torpedoes to starboard.
I've only got...
Standing by for instructions, over.
Torpedoes to starboard.
yeah. Man, you waited till till you were point blank range to then... he sat on the surface. I don't know what that plan was, but it's one less submarine. Ugh. We just avoided that.
Standing by for instructions, over.
I'll put torpedoes out on this side as well. Right, that wasn't a kill I was expecting to make, but I'll take it. It would be nice to take out that KGV, but they have the range on me, I suspect. But still, when I see that, that is a nasty ship to be on the wrong end of. I feel like that, even these days, it's possibly an underappreciated threat. Because those 14-inch HE shells are
Taken the lead.
super nasty. Right, that is another one out of the way. Now we need to get unspotted. And we can at least get a speed boost to manoeuvre a bit better. Right, they've lost a big chunk of their ships already as well, which is quite nice. I haven't done a lot of damage so far.
Our team has taken the lead.
You pop your speed boost. Let's give you a little more aim than it feels like I should. Might still not be enough. I'm not super impressed with the guns so far, but I mean, the British 15-inch guns, they're not the most impressive guns in the game. They're not terrible, but they don't typically feel great to use. I wonder if he's going to try and torpedo the New Orleans. Do I want to... between us we might take the KGV, but the KGV could easily focus one of us down, but the KGV does kind of need to die. So if I accompany this Genizer now, we do at least have the sneakiness to cloak up, provided we don't get spotted by their carrier, of course. Which is always a problem when you're in a ship that's trying to be sneaky and relies on being sneaky. And then there's a CV nearby. It just completely negates it. No, I'm not feeling that 2.0 Sigma right now. But yeah, 3-gun battleships tend to... Oh, there we go, there's a Citadel, that's quite nice. 3-gun battleships tend to always be a bit less... Or 3-turret battleships tend to be a bit less popular. I mean, Genizer now has this problem. Scharnhorst a bit less so, just because Scharnhorst fires quite fast. You can make up for it with a rate of fire. But I don't think I have the tankiness of Genizer now or Scharnhorst somehow.
Engine boost activated.
Our team has taken the lead.
Hello, you show. It is a pity. You'd think having like over double the number of those 4.2-inch turrets on the side would make a bigger difference to your AA, but no. Wargaming has once again talked about, hey, you know, we acknowledge there's issues with how AA works, and we might make some changes to it. But the last time we heard anything about that, it just kind of didn't happen. So who knows what to think at this point. Right, this carrier must be fairly close. That would have been a nice thing to differentiate the two, as if you could point at this and go, oh yeah, it's got much more substantial AA than the tier 6, but it just doesn't. So yeah.
Victory is in sight.
Not terribly impressed with the damage dealing capabilities so far. We don't have a catapult available to... I don't think these things had... Maybe it did at some point and it was removed. I don't know. Does tier 6 Renown have a catapult? I don't feel like it does, but I might be wrong. Anyway. Come on, give me some damage. I'm gonna get some damage done. I can't complain about the team, at least. The team is doing very well versus the enemy team.
Engine boost deactivated.
This is one of those quite one-sided games. It certainly sucks if you're on the losing side, and it's not necessarily that entertaining on the winning side either. It's just the nature of these sorts of team games, I suppose. Gosh, it'd be nice to kill that carrier, but I don't know if we're going to get a chance. Anyway, I mean, Tier 7. Tier 7 is a competitive tier for battleships. There are some very good battleships at Tier 7. So, yeah. And anything that doesn't feel like it can at least hold its own is not necessarily going to be terribly popular. This may well fall into that category. Yeah, just gonna be sneaky and hide around that corner. Okay. Oh well. No. I'm very not impressed, and this is with the accuracy module. I'm so far very not impressed with the accuracy. We'll give that another go. I might get to do a bit more in another game. That one wasn't all that challenging in the scheme of things. Right, another top tier. No submarines or CVs this time. But you just know in the, you know, the karmic vastness of the universe that I will be paying for that by having this time the terrible teammates compared to the enemy team. That's just how it works, right? Yeah. Anyway, only 2 destroyers means in theory I can be somewhat aggressive, and Queen Elizabeth and Nagato will both be able to overmatch.
Let's get to it.
California, Fuso, New York, not so much. In theory, of course, I can overmatch all their armour, but it really does depend on the guns actually being nice to me. Which they haven't really so far, but it's only been, well, technically 2 matches, but I'm not going to count that first match against bots. That doesn't really, yeah, you could just charge into knife fighting range in co-op games, and most of the time it'll work out quite well for you. So it's probably going to be one of the enemy destroyers. Guess we'll see. They both could be an issue. Potentially. Mishkovitsa's not particularly stealthy. Matsuki is, though. It actually has a decent range for its torpedoes at Tier 5. Although for the most part I don't get worried, particularly when it's a Tier 5 destroyer, unless it's something like a Kamikaze or a Gremiash. If it's someone playing a premium destroyer, they tend to do a bit better. But, you know, on the other hand, that can be something that lulls you into a false sense of security, and you think, oh, it's only a Tier 5 destroyer, and then it turns out to be someone that's played like 5,000 games in a T-22 or something like that. These people are out there that somehow find the time and the will to play the same ships literally thousands of times over. Anyway, it's the Mishkovitsa, which is like, what, 8 kilometer torps? 8.5? Fuso. Don't know if it's worth pinging Hydro just yet. I could. Let's stealth up. We'll just make our way a little bit closer. Don't want the extra visibility from being on fire. And have high explosive ready for when we pop the Hydro. It's only a 4 kilometer Hydro. And this is quite an aggressive move, but hey, I'm top tier and I have a Hydro and a pretty decent turn of speed when I'm not spotted, so this seems like a good use of a Hydro to knock out 50% of the enemy's destroyers. Oh hello, you're on the move.
Torpedoes
Right.
to starboard.
We sank an enemy destroyer. Off to a cracking start.
Torpedoes to starboard.
And, oh, it's a Marblehead. Well, it does have longer range torpedoes, but yeah, you're not going to hit me from there, Marblehead. That's just kind of not going to happen.
Torpedoes direct front.
California's just been kind of steadfastly ignoring me for till now, but there we go. Ooh, that fell just a little bit short, that's fine. Right, I've got some chunkier targets to fire at, and neither of them have the ability to overmatch, so I think we can afford to be a little more aggressive here. I kind of wish the... Not too much so, though, because the Fuso and the Koenig are just kind of chillaxing back there. But we might get to torpedo somebody. On the other hand, that might be a bit risky given our torpedo angles. But you know what? Let's try it. It's possibly completely stupid, but we have the speed boost.
Engine boost.
We have the ability to put out, what, like 60k of damage? Something like that. So this might be an utterly bad idea, but on the other hand, it might be hilarious. Oh, they went nowhere close. Come here, little Fuso, I have presents for you. This may all go horribly, humiliatingly wrong, but who knows? Right, you've run aground, literally. Ugh. Okay.
Fire.
Okay, goodness. Be nice if we could. There we go.
Problem solved.
Get an extra heal out of that, which is useful.
Torpedoes to starboard.
The heal going. 3 ricochets. Right, if I angle a bit, I can get torps out against the Fuso on this side. It's just fired, so...
Engine boost deactivated.
Angle a bit. And then maybe we can torpedo the California on the other side. Come on, torpedoes! Right, I got one. Yeah, I am just being completely ridiculously hyper-aggressive right now. We're even getting some quite decent number of hits, but I think that's just because we've got, what is it, like 10 of these 4.2-inch barrels on. Wow, they're actually going to hit the that wasn't even intended, but there we go. Let's pretend like that's what I meant to happen. Yeah, I think you just have so many of them and they're so fast firing that, yeah, they have just enough penetration to, it's like 19 mil of pen, so there's just enough pen to actually to work. Right, I don't know if it's worth the risk of actually trying to turn at this range, so we'll just see if we can finish him off conventionally. Right, given that I was able to be aggressive, this was a much
Problem solved.
more interesting result.
Our team
Didn't get
has
the kill,
taken the
alas,
lead.
but I got the lion's share of the damage. Right, so we can heal up in time to then maybe take on the Nagato, and the Nagato is going to be able to overmatch. And we'll also have an engine boost coming up very soon as well, but I don't know if we want to... Do we want to pop the engine boost? Alright, I want to give my heal time to run before I meet the Nagato. I can definitely outspot the Nagato. Yeah, there's quite a lot of ships I would not have tried that against, especially, you know, 2 battleships. Potentially that's unwise, but I did have a bunch of people back there, and neither of them had the capability of overmatching me. So, yeah, it was still a risk,
Activated.
but it was an entertaining risk in that particular case. The Nagato's running away, so let's just power towards them. Do have a nice points advantage, but we're not that far ahead on ships, so I don't want to assume anything. Yeah, if I was in Repulse, I could fire on this Nagato already. But never mind. Repulse does have the worst reload of the 3, but it's still only like 27 seconds, so it's still better than the 30-second sort of average that we think of, although there's plenty of battleships that have above 30-second reloads now. And not always in a way that feels justified. Right, well, I think the Nagato, yeah, they're going to get unspotted. But we do have now the opportunity to find the Queen Elizabeth. They are quite broadside as well. Not that I particularly have faith in in these guns. Yeah. Yeah.
Victory is in sight.
I mean, it's a nice mobile platform, but it's like there's other battleships that are like that as well, like Normandy at Tier 6, where it's like, oh, it's a nice mobile platform for a battleship. Good turning radius. Really, really not great guns for Tier 6, however. At least with the Leon, you get a scary amount of them. Although then, of course, you have the awkward turret layout of the Leon to contend with. Come on, it's not that angled, and these are 15-inch guns. Come on now. There we go. Actually, if I get 4 kills, I think that might even be a dockyard mission. 4 kills in a single match. Ah, oh, no, no, someone else is going to get it. Come on. Come on. Yeah, no, no, no. I think I'm going to be denied the 4-kill mission, alas. Right, shall we... Other than aim to go in the gap, I suspect the... Oh, no, Nagato's going south. I thought Nagato was going into the sea cap. Never mind. I was so close. If RNG had been a little bit kinder, I would have had that 4th kill. And I'd have had my dockyard mission, but alas, alack. It might still happen, but I'm not going to hold out hope. I think that was probably my best chance of getting a 4th kill. Can we hit anyone from here? It says... Oh, maybe? Is that gonna... Or is it just gonna clip the edge? No. Ah, Nagato, you're not cooperating. You're not cooperating at all. It's very unsporting of you. Come on, I've got viewers to entertain. Now, the Colorado's going to go down, so that improves my chances of killing something, I suppose. I mean, over 100k in my second game is not bad, but I played ultra aggressive to get it. In a way that is kind of hard to recommend in anything other than very, very select circumstances. High caliber, very nice. Oh, have I just set someone else up for the kill again? Am I going to get a reload on my rear turret in time? No! No, no. Fourth kill denied. Oh well. I was tantalisingly close there, but yeah. Right, well, who knew with good matchmaking and no CVs and no submarines and, you know, the opportunity to play aggressively and actually use the torpedoes, it worked out. Who knew? Who knew? But, yeah, that wasn't half bad. That wasn't half bad. Certainly something I could have done in the Tier 6 Renown as well, but yeah, maybe not quite as effectively because, of course, the torps don't do as much damage. So, yeah, initial impressions, it's okay, but at the same time, it's an up-tiered Tier 6 ship, and that's always going to come with some issues. Because it's not like it's hugely upgraded, it's sort of maybe a half-tier upgrade, and given that both of those matches were top-tier, I don't feel like that was exactly a representative experience. So, yeah, don't look back at that last match I just played and think, oh yeah, wow, this ship is so awesome. It probably isn't most of the time. That was just a very good set of circumstances. So that just about wraps up this video. You can maybe put your own experiences with the Renown 44 down in the comments section. I'd be interested to see how you guys and gals are getting on with it. Otherwise, you can do all the other usual things. Hit the sub button and like and bell and I don't know, something with salt circles probably known on YouTube these days. And of course, as always, stay tuned for more.